the only common thing between all Harvard students is they applied to Harvard. Don't reject yourself automatically, apply. Like, worst case, you get rejected, but apply.
Welcome to the Beyond Harvard podcast. I'm your host, Rashana Weerasinghe, and on today's episode, we will meet Nand Javia, a student entrepreneur and master's candidate at Harvard. Take a listen as Nand shares his journey and all the lessons he's learned along the way. Enjoy. Nand Javia, thank you for coming on Beyond Harvard.
This is amazing.
Excited to have you. Nand, I want to jump right in.
Okay.
So you grew up in between India's.
Yeah.
You've traveled to over 40 countries.
Yeah.
Now you're pursuing your master's degree at Harvard in education. Tell me a little bit about you and where did it all begin for you?
Awesome. Harvard was on my mind since I was maybe 16 years old.
Okay.
I wanted to do my undergrad. I was in Zambia. So most African countries don't have very good universities. So you always want to study abroad, That's kind of on your mind. So I wanted to come to the US. And when I started looking at different universities, Harvard popped up.
That's it, right?
Wait, I've seen Harvard. I know this name, I've heard about this. What is this about,
Yeah.
Then I kind of made it my goal to come here for undergrad. I studied so hard. My grades shot up because I had that motivation, that internal motivation.
Mm.
I gave up my smartphone. I was like using that old button phone because I wanted to go to Harvard.
You were so laser focused.
So laser focused. And that completely changed. I talk to teenagers about this all the time, because those high school years are so formative, that those decisions that you make and where you end up changes a lot. Anyway, long story short, somehow did not end up coming to Harvard for undergrad. But what it did was show me the power of baby steps. Like,
Talk to us a little bit more.
baby steps is a type of a philosophy which I came up with kind of myself. Is like, if you're at this level, for example, and you want to go to Harvard, let's say, that's the next level. It was in my case. I kept moving. I was much better at grades, education, motivation, what I was learning online, what I was looking at on YouTube, what I was watching on YouTube, all of those things were changing. So I was improving myself, When it came time to apply for colleges, I was still not at the Harvard level, but I was above where I was 1 year before, So that baby steps kind of helped. And then for the next 7.5 years, I was taking baby steps before I applied to Harvard for my master's, and I ended up coming here for master's. So I always tell people, like, baby steps are so important because you feel like you're in discipline to keep something.
And talk to us about that. What was that moment where you decided you wanted to go back and pursue grad school again and maybe give Harvard another shot? Take us to that moment.
That's very interesting because I had given up. I mean, I would say I was motivated. Then I came to the US. I went to Texas Christian University and also a community college in California. And then I kind of forgot about Harvard naturally. I graduated. Then for 2 years, I left the US. And then when I was thinking about master's again, I only applied to Harvard because I'm like, the only reason I would go back to the US would be Harvard. Otherwise, I wanted to go to the Netherlands. So I already looked at Dutch universities. I already visited Netherlands a bunch of times. I was like, that's where I want to go. But Harvard is the only one thing. I think the thing that was the tipping point of me applying was I met someone who went to Harvard, who went to HGSE. And I met her at a conference or something. And she really recommended that I should look into Harvard Graduate School of Education. I was okay, let me look into it. And then I applied and somehow.
And now you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I realized, I guess, something that the only common thing between all Harvard students, you want to guess? What's the one common thing between all Harvard students? Undergrad, grad, PhDs, everyone. One common thing is they applied to Harvard. It's such an easy thing, but they took that step, There are so many people who just reject themselves. All Harvard graduate schools do not publish their acceptance rates because they believe that so many people automatically reject themselves by looking at the acceptance rates. So it's a very interesting thing. Like, don't reject yourself automatically. Apply. Like, worst case, you get rejected, but apply.
Right. Give someone else the opportunity to reject you. You don't need to reject yourself, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
So I think what you're touching at, Nand, is there's almost this mindset, right, of
Yeah.
kind of taking the baby steps, having this resilience, being able to take rejection and move past it. Talk to me a little bit about the GSE and the program in particular. You're studying entrepreneurship and education. What exactly drew you to the program, and why did you decide to pursue it?
I think the program was 1 year. That was definitely a part of it. I have a couple of businesses and I did not want to stay away from them for 2 years, which is the normal MBA program. So 1 year was definitely one thing that was attractive. The other thing was education. Entrepreneurship is not a very common topic to talk about. People in education don't like to talk about money or entrepreneurship.
Why do you think?
Because
Why do you think
it's a
so?
purpose driven industry. It's an industry driven by impact, by purpose to actually help the next generation and stuff. um but the reality of the ground situation is that all the schools are owned by someone. Most universities are owned by someone. Like, there is tons of entrepreneurship that happens. And on top of all of that, if we think and talk about how education hasn't changed for so many years, what changes things is entrepreneurship. It's not the way the old people think. It's about how the new industry leaders will actually think and bring innovative business solutions so that education can change. So education entrepreneurship was definitely interesting.
So education is almost the standstill industry, and entrepreneurship is how you kind of create some disruption. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. More like disruption in education using entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And how did you find yourself within that space of entrepreneurship and education?
It's a working journey. I If you asked me 1 month ago, I would have had a different answer. But
Yeah.
I always came here with a mindset to start my next business. Like, that was my purpose. The program was 1 year long. Most people told me that you should know what you want before you come into the program. I was very sure. I had a few different ideas. I wanted to qualify different ideas. In fact, none of my initial ideas worked, but I came up with a bunch of new things which I worked on. Um, I'm a very actions oriented person when it comes to business. Like, we talk about something, I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks actually doing research on it, maybe trying to sell something even before we have the product or service.
Is that part of the
Yes.
entrepreneurial mindset? And
Yes, because if someone, if you,
the bias for action?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you want someone to actually pay you for something, like, unless the best characteristic, the best characteristic for a business, whether it will work or not, is if someone is willing to pay for it. Okay. So whatever idea comes to your mind, format it a little bit, try to sell it. If someone is actually willing to pay for it, that's gonna work out. So anyway, but now I'm kind of ended up in the workforce development industry the last
Okay.
few weeks. That's where I'm
Interesting.
kind of
So you've pivoted from what your initial.
Yeah, my initial ideas were in AI and marketing and stuff,
Okay.
but now I'm somehow in AI workforce development stuff.
Got it. So it seems like you came to grad school to test out these different hypotheses that you have, right? So almost like a experimental sandbox, right? Of
Yes.
being able to test out different hypotheses. What expectations did you have coming into Harvard?
My expectations were to open my perspectives to new things which I did not know existed. I think I had this strong feeling that, Harvard and Oxford and MIT and these people live a different life. And I expected that after I go there, I will also
You're going to
just
live a
be-
different life.
Yeah, like just be put in a place where we're talking about the future. We're not even talking about what's happening now or
Yeah.
the past. We're only talking about how we're going to design the future. Not all the entire university is like that, there are pieces and parts if you are part of the right groups and stuff at MIT and Harvard. You can be in a spot where you're around people who are only talking about the future. That's what they want to change. They know how, and that's sometimes they're a little bit arrogant, but uh, they think they're right. But sometimes that's what you need to be future leaders. So
And so, how have those expectations matched your reality, do you think, in terms of now we're almost kind of halfway through the program?
yeah,
Right? What are some of your thoughts?
I think classes could be harder. Classes are much easier than I expected at Harvard. MIT classes a little bit more difficult. Depends on what classes you take as well, of course. But one thing which became more and more clear is that everyone needs to take control of their own life. Um,
Mhm.
do not use grad school as a way to just have a distraction in life that grad school will tell you what to do in life. It doesn't happen. Grad school is a tool. It's not the end goal. It's not something which it's not the purpose. It's a tool. It's not a purpose. So you need to make sure that you are still taking control because you need to select classes, right? You need to know at least 20 to 30% of what you want so that you can end up selecting classes accordingly. Otherwise, you're just pulled everywhere, basically. You're not guiding your own journey.
I like that. And I want to dive into that a little bit
Mhm.
further because you've often said, don't use grad school as an excuse to figure your life out. And you've said, come in with at least 30 to 40% of your life figured out before you come to grad school, which is quite a statement. So I want to dig into that a little bit.
Yes.
Um, what exactly do you mean there? And maybe tell us more of like the different layers there, and then maybe also how that ties into how you choose to spend your time here, networking, all of those different aspects. But first, kind of break that down for us.
Yeah, so I call it the art of networking.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the art of networking is this idea that I invented that you go to grad school to network. That's kind of let's put it put it as a ground rule. Like most people are coming to grad school so they can meet more people. There's
Yeah.
a little bit of actually studying actual education, but not as much as undergrad.
Mhm.
Grad school is more about just meeting people.
So that's the first differentiator.
That's the
Right.
first
Okay.
differentiator. Now, the second thing there is you are spending time, energy, and money to go to
Yeah.
grad school. You want to be and meet people. But the last step of that is to make sure that those people remember you. How are they going to remember you if you don't have anything figured out in life and you go there? I meet you, okay? I'm
Okay.
spending $100,000
Yeah.
flying halfway around the world to be at
Fine.
Harvard in the same room with you. I've done 95% of my work to be here with you, but the remaining 5% is saying something about myself that will make you remember me. But if I tell you that I'm figuring out life, there is nothing for you to remember about me. If I actually tell you that, I'm this guy, I traveled, I have this business, I worked here, something about me which is tangible, then you at least have one memory of me. So then for the rest of your life, you will at least imagine me as this guy who maybe specializes in this one little thing. And that's the reason I tell people to figure out 30 to 40%, which means more like figure out an industry or something within an industry that you're interested in. Or if you knew something about one industry, but now you want to pivot to a different industry, learn a little bit about the different industry, do a job, start a business, take some risks before you come to grad school. Because one of the things you'll realize is when you actually meet people and they tell you things out of the blue, not a job or a business, some risks that they took in life, you will remember that. Like you'll remember, like, damn, that guy sailed across from Portugal to
Yeah.
Colombia.
It's always like the most random
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
I met this one guy from Denmark a long time ago in Colombia. He said he didn't fly. He took a sailboat from Portugal to Colombia.
Oh, that was an actual.
Yeah, it's an actual thing.
I thought that
And
was an
I'm
example.
not gonna forget that guy ever.
Never. Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
that's something insane because he took the risk and that's what
Yeah.
people remember. So take some risks before you come so that you end up making that cycle of networking, like complete the cycle. Otherwise you don't complete the cycle.
Yeah. And then it's a good conversation starter, right?
Yeah.
For when you're here.
And it's fine to figure out life, but do it before you come to grad school. So you're not spending time and money while you are in grad school. Like you don't need to be in grad school to figure out life. There's the internet. There's the whole of internet out there to do all of that.
No, I think that's an important reframe? Because I think sometimes graduate school is seen as like this break and kind of taking time to test things out. So I like how you're reframing it in a way of being more intentional about coming to grad school.
Yes.
And one of the things that we've kind of talked about during our time here at grad school is there's a lot that's happening career-wise and professionally, but there's also a lot of personal growth that happens
Yes.
when you come to grad school. I want to ask you, Nand, what are some of those self-realizations that you've had and about your journey here so far, and tell us a little bit about what you've learned about yourself through this journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rashana, the therapist. No, that's awesome. I've been thinking about this because now it's been 3 months that we're here.
Yeah.
And as much as I was thinking about what professional progress I made, I was also thinking about how I've changed.
Yeah.
One first thing that came to my mind was, well, there's this before that, there's a quote, right? Like, you are what other people think you are. So a lot of who you are actually comes from the fact of what other people are reacting and thinking of you like. And I think at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, I've somehow created this image that I'm the business guy. So people come to me if they have a business idea or something, and I have learned that I am a very honest and transparent person. Like, I've become so comfortable if someone comes to me trying to pitch something, I was like, that's not gonna work. No one's gonna pay for it. Like, I think
But that's good, right? That's what they would.
Yeah, because that's
Transparency is what they want to hear.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's not something that they get very often. So I've learned that I'm so comfortable. The realization, as you asked about myself,
Yeah.
was that I'm so comfortable giving people the honest advice. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but look, that's what you're gonna get from me. And maybe I was this person even earlier, but after coming here is when I'm really realizing that I am this person. And when I realize it, it's at an exponential level because now I really don't fake anything I say. Like, I am realizing more about myself. So I'm like putting it more energy and I'm trying to be as honest as
It's
possible.
good for me to keep in mind now.
But your podcast is going to work. The amount of energy you're putting in it. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So then tell us a little bit about, so we've touched on your experience thus far, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, as you're thinking, as we move into this latter part of the year and then moving into kind of the second semester of the program, what are some of your intentions? What are you going in with?
As long as I survive the winters,
That's very important. As long as we make it out, right?
Yes. I mean, my goal, again, I'm a honest person. Like, my goal has always been that before I graduate, I want to make the ROI on the degree before I graduate,
Oh,
which is already on the way. Like, if I'm spending 100,000, I want to make 100,000 before I graduate. I don't want to think about ROI after I graduate, which is
okay.
what most people think about.
Yeah.
Till now, this month, I think this first semester was also good enough. Like, we
Okay.
started qualifying a few ideas and selling and stuff. We closed the first two clients, but in my mind, I was super intentional. This is for my next business to start. So the second semester, as we get into it, I'm getting in my sales mode more, to make sure that all of second semester is to build relationships around Boston, go to different companies, because my business is B2B. So I would be meeting more people, perhaps going to conferences and selling, selling, selling. So I think I'm not really looking for that traditional college experience. I think my undergrad was a very, very good college experience that I'm not really looking for, like, oh, hanging out and all of that, which I still do somehow. Like, I still do all of that. But in the back of my mind, it's like, that's what I want. Like, that's what I would consider success when I'm sitting in the commencement speech. And if I know that I made the ROI before, I guess my personal goal, which is a tangible goal, I know it's achievable. Like, it's all of those things. And that's what I would consider myself.
And now you've put it out there. So we'll look back on it and we'll see.
Because money is also impact. The amount of sales that I'm making, it's also, if you look at it in a way, like, I have created an impact worth of $100,000 in 1 year. So I'd love to talk about sales, but I also love to talk about people who say that they want to make $100 million. No one's gonna just give them $100 million. They need to figure their life out that they can make a world impact of $100 million. That's when they'll have $100 million.
Yeah.
And when we talk about impact, it's very different. Like if you talk about, there's only a transaction. You would only spend money if whatever you buy is going to have an impact on your life. So people only spend money when they have an impact. So you need to figure out a way to have a
Great.
impact into
Impact.
someone else's life.
Yeah. I want to get into this, Nand,
Yeah.
and maybe first we'll start with just talking about your journey to entrepreneurship and what exactly you do. So
Oh yeah.
you're the founder of Scholaroid Education, which is a private counseling business for students to apply and receive admit or acceptance and then scholarships
Yes.
to schools in the US and other countries. Tell me a little bit about that and how exactly that started for you.
Sure. So we're a private college counseling company. We help mostly middle class students from Asian countries
Okay.
to people who are looking for scholarships in US universities. I studied on a full scholarship for my undergrad, and I also worked in admissions and stuff. So slowly learned from all of that. Started a YouTube channel where I started making videos 8 years ago about scholarships and all of that. I was making videos out of fun, to be honest. And one day, and I was not able to reply to all the DMs that I was getting or the comments.
On your videos. Okay.
Yeah, because there's so many
Yeah.
videos, right? One day, I passed through this one DM on Instagram saying it was a mother of some Brazilian student, and I did not reply to her previous messages. Her last message said, "Hey, I will pay you. Please help my student, my son."
That one you saw.
That one I saw. And I'm like, wait, someone will pay me for this?
You didn't see all the other ones, but the one that said paid.
Yes.
You had like a filter on your
Immediately
messages.
replied. But that was such a big voila moment that
Really?
the
I bet.
knowledge I have is actually monetizable. And
Impact.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was making videos for fun to document my experiences. And then the first time I was like, I don't even know how much to charge her. So I just said $250. And then I was like, okay. And she paid in like 2 hours, she paid $250. And I was like, what?
And
You
then
know?
that's when you realized.
Crazy. And that was crazy. And that was the first hit, that was the first sale. But for different people, it happens differently. And now we help between 20 to 30 students every year for different admissions and stuff. But we work specifically with scholarship students.
Yeah. And so what I like about that story, Nand, is it seems like you started a YouTube channel for fun, right? And then this opportunity came along, right? And it wasn't something you expected. And something you mentioned before is delayed gratification in entrepreneurship. Talk to us a little about that.
Yeah. So people get into entrepreneurship thinking they will make money and stuff. But the truth is, instant gratification comes from a job. Delayed gratification comes from entrepreneurship. Okay. So if you want to make money now, get a job. If you want a good sustainable business which will actually make money, making you money later, then entrepreneurship is the path. But I found that it's actually very easy to start businesses if you are the one who has delayed gratification, because a lot of the business competition is about pricing, right? And if you kind of put yourself in the right situation, all of your competitors will have a different pricing model, and you can have a different pricing model where you can maybe get paid a little bit later, and the buyers will actually come to you. So don't do anything new. And another thing I would like to mention
Yes.
is the word entrepreneurship. I don't like the word entrepreneurship.
Oh, okay. What do you like?
I love a business owner, businessman, or something.
Okay.
The word entrepreneurship is very American. Like it's actually a French word, but in America it's been overused.
Okay.
And every time someone says entrepreneurship, they mean they want to build something new that is going to change the world. The amount of risks that it takes, the amount of money it takes to change the world and stuff is very different. It's a whole another level, which most people don't understand. And it's one of the reasons why I also think that people don't start their own businesses, or they procrastinate to start their own businesses, because the first thought in their mind is someone else is already doing this. I should do something different, something new. Is not the truth. Boring businesses are the ones that make the most money. Doing the same thing that someone else does is completely fine. Just change the process 10%, It's okay. Like plumbers make tons of money. These people garden landscapers, construction companies. Someone needs to do those basic things. It's completely fine to start basic businesses. You don't need to have your first business as a complete change of the world. Like, you slowly end up there. Maybe your life will change. Otherwise, I've always said that there is 3 4 levels of entrepreneurs. The first level is people who just talk about entrepreneurship, who never end up doing anything. The second level is people who maybe start something but no market research, and they still have a full-time job on the side. They lose all the things and they kind of stop the business at some point. The third level is when they actually make a profit and they're able to leave their job because they're making enough profit to leave their job.
Yeah.
The fourth one is the ones that actually cross $100 million, because that needs scalability. But to reach level 3, where you have a business so that you can let go of your job, is fairly possible. I think most people can do it with a little bit of dedication and some guidance, I understand, but most of the information is on the internet.
Yeah.
Level 3 is more than fine. Like, I want to be at level 3. I don't care about level 4. I'm fine. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to be at level 4. It comes with a
Right.
whole other level of stress, and
Yeah. No, it does.
responsibilities.
Yeah. I want to get into that a little bit more because I think a lot of folks are in positions where they're wrestling between corporate and entrepreneurship, right? And I
Yeah.
think it's how do you find the right lane? When is the right time to make that pivot? Is it right for you to pursue entrepreneurship? And so as you've mentioned, you're the business guy on campus and the self-proclaimed entrepreneur. So
Self-proclaimed, okay.
I want to pick your brain on it, Nand, and tell us a little bit about what advice would you give to folks who are trying to decide the right lane for them?
I think it's definitely a very difficult decision. Many things come into consideration. The most important ones I can think about, the first one is how much savings do you have? Okay, it's the truth. You need to pay rent, you need to pay for food and stuff. If you don't have enough savings, can you have a job and do this on the side? Okay, that's another thing. If you have savings for 1 year, do you have the luxury to just take this 1 year off, have your expenses super low, live in the cheapest place, move back to your parents' apartment, do whatever you want? Is that a possibility? So first logistical thing is just money. How much money do you have saved? Second thing is how confident do you feel? What's your gut feeling telling you about this business?
Yeah.
It's hard, but one thing you could do is also talk to 20, 25 people, 30 people. Talk to them about what you want to do, and hear their honest response. Actually tell them, give me your honest response, and then they'll give you their honest response. And
that's the cue,
yeah,
right?
that's the cue.
Otherwise
it's kind of, it's called it can be biased. But if you actually hear that and maybe they are agreeing to it, maybe that also helps a little bit. Because there's always jobs available. That's one thing someone told me, which was very eye-opening. Every year, companies hire people. It was so crazy to realize, because you think that when you graduate is the only time to look for a job. It's not. All year round, all companies are always hiring. So you can always find a job later,
Yeah.
You can take a risk for 6 months and you can always find a job later if you want.
Right. And I think that applies to entrepreneurship as well, right? You can always pursue entrepreneurship to an extent, right? You don't have to do it.
Depends on responsibilities too, right?
Yeah.
If you're in your 20s, you don't have a family and stuff. Of course, I've met older people who's so much harder when you have a family and then you need to pay the bills and stuff. If you're in your early 20s, I mean, if you watch Gary Vee at all, do you know Gary Vee by any chance? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like if everyone knows Gary Vee, I'm like, he's going to tell you to get out of your bed and do something. So just have Gary Vee as your only follower on Instagram. Watch nothing else except Gary Vee.
And Nand. And yourself.
And me.
And Nand. I'm plugging for you, Nand.
Yeah. Just me and Gary Vee. That's all you need.
Before we get into our final wrap-up segment, Nand, I want to ask you a little bit about travel. I have to.
Yes.
Because you've traveled to so many countries. Yes. And you and I were both in an equity course where we talked about global citizenship. Mm-hmm. And so I'm curious to know, how have you embodied the idea of being a global citizen, but more so, how has your travel and travel experiences informed your perspective on life?
Of course. One thing that traveling teaches you is that humans are the same all over the world. I mean different types. Like there are kind people, there are criminals, there's people who are ambitious, there are people who are happy, who love to cook, who love to work, who love their family more. Like there's people, all types of people everywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
There's rich people everywhere. There's middle class people there. There's poor people. It's just everywhere. Like you really just see that because you have this imagination that those people live a better life. Those people live a better. It's like no, humans are humans. That was a big realization. The second one was just to make the world feel like a smaller place. I think that's a huge thing. When you look at a world map, and if you have memories in different countries, like Latin America, if you live there for, I lived there for 6 months. Now I just feel like oh, it's accessible, like I've been
Yeah.
there kind of thing. Otherwise, a lot of people live in their own bubbles, and their own bubble kind of makes you feel like that's inaccessible, but it's not. It's only a flight away. I used to tell myself that there is a flight going out from the airport near my city every single day that can take me to wherever I want to go.
Yeah.
The only restriction there is do I have the money? Do I have the freedom? Two things mostly. And if you need a visa, I guess. But that's it. Like you can be on that flight. That flight that just flew to Paris, you can be on it.
Yeah.
I used to look at the planes in Dallas and I used to tell myself, like, I
Yeah.
could be there. Like,
Yeah.
who's stopping
Yeah.
you? No one,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have to ask you now, what's next on your bucket list in terms of travel? Which
I
country?
haven't been to Russia, China, and Japan. Those three are
Okay.
kind of huge, but I need visas for all of them. And as an Indian passport holder, it's a little bit tough sometimes for China. Russia and Japan should be easy.
Okay.
And Brazil, maybe. That's kind of been,
Okay. So those are next on your list.
Yeah.
Maybe after graduation.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready for rapid fire with
Okay.
Rashana?
Let's do it.
This is the last
I'm
bit.
ready.
Okay. Home stretch. Favorite thing about Harvard, least favorite thing about Harvard.
Favorite thing about Harvard people,
Okay.
I think least favorite thing, the buildings look old. I mean, it is very old, but I feel like it could be more modern, I guess.
Maybe that's something we can tell our GSD students, right? The students studying design,
Yeah.
architecture, maybe.
It's like, hey.
Yeah. Okay. If you weren't at Harvard this year, where would you be? What would you be doing?
I would have stopped traveling. I think I was very tired of traveling. I'd probably be, I traveled for 2 years. It was too
Okay.
much.
Yeah.
I'd probably be in Portugal as a digital nomad, like working from Portugal or something, or Spain. One of them.
Oh, living the good life. Yeah. That'd be nice. All right. 3 things you want to learn outside of the classroom.
3 things I want to learn outside of the classroom. One thing that is asking good questions. I think it's a very important skill, and I'm seeing Rashana already has that because small things that I pick up, and I'm like, damn, like because just asking why is very important. Like you're already doing it naturally, perhaps. Asking good questions was one. How to scale a business is another one because that's a very difficult thing to learn. And the last thing I want to learn is the dynamics of power in the world. Because I think this is one of the places where it's perceived as powerful. And being rich is different than being powerful. So that's one thing about power.
Oh, wow. Those are interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Last one I have for you, Nand. I think during this session, you've shared great nuggets of wisdom and you have a lot of good advice. What is one piece of advice you would like to leave the audience with?
What is one piece of advice? Take calculated risks. Try it out. Follow your gut feeling. I think most of the times the answers are in your gut feeling already. Like you know the answers. You're just waiting for other people to kind of validate you.
But sometimes you need that validation.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need the external
but
validation.
in that case, go and ask for validation. Go and ask strategic questions. Don't tell them validate me, but ask strategic questions and then wait for their responses. But most of the times you know the answer. Like you're just procrastinating or you don't want to find out or you're lazy or something, I think. But
yeah, no, that's great. Nand, thank you very much. for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you ended up making to the end of the podcast, make sure to comment, make sure to like and share this podcast to everyone, because Rashana is doing an amazing job sharing student voices from around Harvard. And hopefully you guys pick up a few things, because there's a lot to learn from other people's stories, actually.
There is. Yeah. You can find your own answers in someone else's story.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
You'll see, like, you hear someone say something they did a few years ago and you're in that stage. And you're like, oh, this is how it worked out for him, you know? And it's like, I can do this too. So.
Yeah. And go follow Nand as well.
Yes, follow me too.
Nand Javia, right? That's where.
Yeah, Nand Javia, just my name on YouTube and Instagram and LinkedIn, I guess. But you'll find me there. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nand.